What if I told you that Batista went broke shortly after leaving WWE? Would you believe me? Unfortunately, this isn't an all too uncommon occurrence in the lives of professional wrestlers who often fall on hard times following their contracts running up, some even going so far as declaring bankruptcy. I'm Sam Laterna, and today's video brings you 5 WWE superstars who once went broke. And if you enjoy this and other topics like it, be sure to subscribe to our Sportskeeda channel. Ric Flair is one of the most decorated wrestlers in the history of this fine sport. He has done so much to help elevate promotions in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and the man deserves all the respect that he gets. Ric Flair has done it all and lived a fast lifestyle, my friends. They don't call him the stylin' and profilin' nature boy for no reason. Expensive cars, private jets, women, and expensive clothes. It wasn't all a character. Brain blast. Those things caught up to Ric Flair though, because he had been spending and living the fast life. In 2005, he wound up getting arrested for a DUI. Then in 2007, Ric Flair Finance, whatever that might be, wound up going belly up, and it turned out that Vince McMahon went as far as to give him an $800,000 loan. Vince McMahon stating that he wouldn't even do that for his own kids. Ric Flair has since bounced back. We've seen him in Impact Wrestling over the years, and now the Nature Boy is just doing his thing, living his best life after suffering some health problems. Certainly wish the Nature Boy a stylin' and profilin' rest of his years. Jake the Snake Roberts is one of the best talkers to ever grace professional wrestling. In the late 80s and early 90s, his storylines with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage cemented his legacy in the annals of wrestling history forever. Unfortunately, Jake had a deep, dark secret, and that secret was that he abused drugs and alcohol throughout much of his life. By the late 90s, the secret was out, and many major companies no longer wished to work with him. This left Roberts to go back on the independent wrestling scene, and the indies were not what they are now in 2004. Jake was barely able to scrape by, he was having troubles with his family, his snake Damien even died of starvation. But things were looking up in 2007 when WWE sponsored a rehab program for him. Unfortunately, Roberts was unable to get sober in that moment, and it took a couple of more years until Diamond Dallas Page, DDP himself, intervened and got Jake's life back on track. Since that intervention, Jake has been completely sober and even managed to get inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014. Joey Mercury first rose to prominence as a member of the trio M&M with Melina and John Morrison. However, things quickly started to spiral out of control for Mercury in his personal and professional life when he violated the WWE wellness policy and was suspended for 30 days. Shortly after that, he returned and was injured in a ladder match that severely mangled his face and caused a reliance on painkillers. Because of this, he was released from WWE and his life was in shambles. He had no money, he was addicted to painkillers which affected his health, and his house was even about to be foreclosed on. Thankfully, someone was there to help, and that someone was CM Punk, who helped Mercury out with his mortgage, and by the grace of the wrestling gods, got Joey Mercury his job back at WWE, having Mercury alongside him in the Straight Edge Society. Mercury continued to work for WWE in multiple roles until he was released in 2017. For WWE, the acquisition of Lex Luger in the 1990s was a big freaking deal, people. He had an incredible physique, an awesome charisma, and he was totally being primed to be the next Hulk Hogan. However, we never saw a Hogan-level run out of Luger in WWF because he decided to jump ship to WCW, where he stayed until 2001. Unfortunately, when WWE acquired WCW in 2001, they decided to cut the cord on Luger. Luger. From then on, his life turned into a slew of unfortunate events, culminating in 2003 when Miss Elizabeth's body was discovered unconscious in his apartment. It turns out that she had died of acute toxicity, also known as an overdose, and that the pills had been administered to her by Luger, which got him in a slew of legal trouble. He wound up spending money on bonds, lawyers, bail, and a slew of other things that wound up putting him in a really precarious financial situation. That, along with the fact that he's been riddled with lots of health problems, having to have spinal surgery, it just put poor Lex Luger in a really, really bad state. However, he was able to overcome these things. There is a silver lining. He's been sober since 2007 and now is a reformed Christian. What do you know? Dave Batista is currently ruling the silver screen after landing some pretty major Hollywood roles. But we in the professional wrestling community just know him as Batista, beloved former world heavyweight champion. When Batista decided to leave WWE in 2010 to pursue acting, not many people knew that he managed to go broke in the process, and he was going to do whatever it took to prove that he could make it on his own in Hollywood. And that's exactly what he did, because in 2014, the tide began to turn for Batista when he landed a role in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, playing Drax, the big powerhouse of that group. And it was so awesome as a fan, might I add, to see him on the silver screen, but even more satisfying to see him return to WWE television screens in 2014, winning the Royal Rumble, going on to that year's WrestleMania, and then taking another hiatus from wrestling to film Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It wasn't until 2018 that he returned to wrestling for his retirement match at WrestleMania 35 against Triple H.